This is the brand new format of Mac Chat. So today, hang on, I was going to do an intro and do like today on Mac Chat,
Okay.
and then it'll cut to like highlights of the interview.
Okay.
Today on Mac Chat,
Biggest story, I think, of the first test was not actually anything on the track. It was Jorge Lorenzo. He'd never seen Bacardi and Coke in action before.
Yeah.
Fat Neil.
But it's never happened in my motorhome again. I've just got my driver and he's going to get this thing totally refurbed.
This is the brand new format of Mac Chat. I asked in the last episode, it was a bit of a trial run really, me and my dad having a conversation, and if people would be interested in seeing this as a regular feature. And it seemed like a few people were interested in that. So we are now going to do a monthly update on some stories from the past, from Dad's past, current racing news, and everything else motorbikes in between. So Dad kindly went through the comments on the last YouTube video that we did, and that actually raised quite a few questions from some of the stories he's had. So we're going to answer all those questions first, and then after that we'll talk about MotoGP and all the other current affairs that are going on in motorbike racing at the minute. So, your stories that you needed answering.
Right. So the first one was an old friend of mine got in touch with someone I hadn't seen for a while, an Irishman, Northern Irishman called Raymond Beers. And he mentioned a few things, and then so immediately memories spring to mind. But just generally in the 80s, when I started racing, early to mid 80s, loads of Northern Irish and a few Southern Irish coming to the UK, coming to Scotland because it was easy to get there, and then club meetings around the UK. And they always used to make me smile because it always seemed like it was great lads and great riders, but it always seemed like a last minute effort, like they would decide on a Thursday night or a Friday morning they were going racing, bundle all their worldly possessions into the back of a Transit or a Mercedes 508 was the popular choice at the time, and just arrive, and then they'd open the doors at Cadwell Park or wherever, and everything would fall out. Might well be that they were working flat out until that time, and then there was a mad rush, but complete chaos. But great lads, great socially, great riders, and generally had a good time. So there was dozens of them. But Raymond Beers commented, and my memory of Raymond was at Cadwell Park. He didn't go on to be world champion, but he was a decent national rider, both in Ireland and the UK. And he raced TZ250, if I remember at the time. Well, a funny story about, well, funny to me anyway, Raymond was at Cadwell Park. It's still very narrow, but back then there was definitely no white lines, there was no curbs, so it was tarmac, grey or black tarmac, and grass, and narrow at that, which is fine. You just stay in the limits and you kind of try and keep things safe. But Raymond had a problem because something I didn't really know about. He was colourblind, and he said, "Neil, it's an absolute nightmare for me at Cadwell." He says the track and the grass look the same in my eyes when I'm riding around. So I'm okay when I'm following someone, I'm in their slipstream, I'm dicing with someone. On my own, complete nightmare. So he says, if you see me running off, and I did on occasions, you'll know what the problem was. So I just, when I saw his name straight away, maybe he wears contacts now, Raymond, but big thick glasses at the time, but he was colourblind, so it didn't work. So that was a great memory from
Thankfully, the ACU are a bit stricter now, and you need to do eye tests and things like that.
Yeah, there probably is a colourblind test. He probably didn't go on to be a pilot or anything like that, but anyway, good lad and a great bunch at the time. Another common thread was motorhome parties, and my career spanned 10 or 11 years in GPs, so there was a few. They definitely run into three figures. I'll pick out a couple.
Figures.
I mean, we rode hard, but we partied hard.
Well, I'm just laughing at my childhood here. I've been living like a monk, and you're having 300 motorhome parties.
Not 300. It's three figures, so that's like could be 100. But
all right, only 100.
Well, if you think 10 years of racing, 10 years in GPs, 12 to 15 races at that time a year, it's got to be.
I've had about 5 end of season parties, and you make me feel guilty for them.
Well, it's a long season in Europe, and yeah, you work hard and you party hard. But
go on then.
Anyway, a couple that sprung to mind. There'll be more come out in the future. One, well, they were all mothers of parties really, but my first podium, 500 Grand Prix podium, was in Salzburg Ring in Austria, so that was definitely a cause for celebration. Sunday night, and what happened that night? Because everyone stayed over, no one rushed home or to their hotels. They were all in the paddock. We all congregated at a local bar hotel, top of the hill in Salzburg. Everyone was there at the time. Myself, Rob Mack, good mate of mine, great mate of mine, Randy Mamola, Eddie Lawson, Wayne Gardner, just all up there having a good time. Lots of lads. A few beers, some Baileys, whatever we were drinking. But and then one thing that happened actually before we got back to the paddock and the motorhomes was I had ended up with a magic marker, permanent marker. I guess someone must have gave me it to sign an autograph. So I thought it'd be a good idea to draw on everybody's faces. So you get the drift. We like Eddie Lawson had Honda across his forehead because he was on a Yamaha. Rob Mack had the same. Randy was on a Yamaha, so he had Honda across his forehead. I had Yamaha across my forehead. Some people had moustaches and whiskers and things. So it's all good fun. But it was my game and I was in charge. And there was girls and wives and girlfriends around as well. So she has to remain nameless. But the rider's girlfriend at the time thought it'd be really fun for her to have something on her face as well. She says, Neil, get something on my face. So I drew something inappropriate on her face. She obviously couldn't see it. I thought it was funny. Everyone else thought it was funny, but no one really told her what it was. So that was fun. Then kind of forgot about it. Half an hour went past. Nameless wife or girlfriend went to the bathroom and of course saw her face in the mirror and it wasn't good. She reappeared and just made a beeline for me and attacked me, basically, which was totally justified. Managed to get the situation calmed down. I got into trouble with my girlfriend, now wife, Jan, so it never happened again, but it was definitely funny at the time. Anyway, we then, bar closed, back to the paddock, into motorhomes, and it's different riders' motorhomes on different Sunday nights, but that particular night it was Eddie Lawson. Now, Eddie Lawson, I really like Eddie, 4 times world champion, made millions, but really careful with his money and sensible. He had a nice motorhome, it was a Ford Travel, but he had it from when he arrived in 83 to when he retired in 92, so didn't go mad spending my money, but it was a nice motorhome, kept it immaculate. Anyway, that night, well, there was drink everywhere. I found in his fridge some cooked ham and salami and stuff, and I found it stuck really nicely to his kind of brushed velvet upholstery, and everybody started doing this, and it just sounds a bit daft, but it's funny at the time. And so we basically redecorated his motorhome with cooked meat, and there was drink, and the settees and chairs were all a big mess. Eddie was in there having a good time, didn't seem too bothered, he partied on, but anyway, absolutely trashed his mint motorhome. I was a little bit embarrassed the next day, went round to see him, and he said, Neil, no, Mackenzie called me. Mackenzie, I'm only just getting to know you. I love you. I've never seen anyone party. The parties are amazing. We had a good night, but it's never happening my motorhome again. I've just got my driver and he's going to get this thing totally refurbed. It's going to be mint and there's no more parties, but good while it lasted. So I was my first claim to fame was trashing Eddie's motorhome, but we didn't do that again.
You could take the boy out of central Scotland.
I know, it's just, but he'd never seen Bacardi and Coke in action before.
Yeah.
And I was a bit excited, and I had Yamaha on my forehead, and I had a podium trophy, so it had to be done.
Living the dream.
The other one that springs to mind was, pretty sure it was 1990, British Grand Prix at Donington. James Whittam got involved in this one. I think he was there in one of the support races. James was in a few GPs, but that year it was a support race. It was Wayne Rainey's motorhome. Similar sort of scenario. That night the party was kind of in the paddock. It was a nice August evening. But then we congregated at Wayne's motorhome. Motorhome didn't get trashed, but there was lots of hire cars, as there was, and borrowed cars outside. So at some point we needed to have a race in them.
Obviously.
There was a kind of service road through the hospitality area onto the track. So obviously you're going to use the track for races. So round and round, headlights on, pitch black. some cars on the grass, some cars on their side, no one hurt. But the most damage that got done was actually to James Whittam's car. He was riding for Honda Britain that year, and he had a Honda UK, and he had a silver Prelude. And so James was going round and round. Then he decided he'd come in the pit lane for a quick pit stop or driver change or whatever. And there's a big heavy duty chain stopping you going in and out the pit lane. So James hit that at not full speed, but high speed, trashed the front of his car. I'm not sure if he pulled any wheels or axles off, but did a serious amount of damage. And it was that kind of moment where you think, oh, maybe we should just stop this now. James wasn't impressed. He knew he was going to have to face his team manager Neil Tuxworth the next morning. But and then I don't know what happened after that, but that was kind of the end of the racing evening at Donington Park.
And just going back to the motorhomes, you've just brought something back to my memory that I forgot that you've got in the loft is messy motorhomes on tape. And I think we should probably bring them back to YouTube.
Yeah.
Because it's your footage, it's on our video camera.
Yeah, the messy motorhome videos were quite famous or infamous in the 80s. Rob Mack, he was kind of cutting edge. Rob showed up 86, 87 with a VHS video camera, and he basically was videoing everything, which was amazing. He videoed the half of one season with everything upside down because he had something inverted in it. So once he found out to video the right way up, that was much better. But anyway, we got into this thing where it's a little bit naughty, but it was kind of funny and it was harmless. When some riders were out practicing or gone to the shops, we'd just break into their motorhomes and then video the contents of their fridge, their motorhome, their record collection, their bathrooms and their cupboards in the bedroom, whatever. So we had these videos. Rob was the man behind the camera. I was the front man opening the drawers and pulling things out. So I mean, we did a few big names. Some were aware of it, some weren't. But yeah, you're right. We have still got these VHS tapes up my loft, and
well, we won't give too much away there, and
we'll dig some out.
Yeah.
You might have to kind of edit them a little bit, but we had hours of fun doing that for our self amusement. But it was good fun.
Fat Neil. Who have you got in there with you? What's he? She? He?
Morning.
Good morning, Neil. It's very nice to see you. Are you comfortable in that get-up?
Yeah,
Do you always sleep like that?
always.
Always.
And now we'll bring it to the current day.
No, one more thing.
Oh, go on then.
One more thing. Another common thread on the comments was again, you've got to be a certain age, but it was a 16er special fizzy era in the mid-70s when we were all 15, 16 and getting our provisional licenses and these bikes for the first time. And so there's lots of people talked about them, and there was a few bikes I forgot about. There's lots of fizzies, FS1E, Yamahas. Wear it every day. AP50 Suzukis, they were 5-speed, so they were a bit special and a bit more top end. Honda SS50s, which originally was a 4-speed, and then it was really crap, really slow, although it was a Honda. So they that evolved into a 5-speed SS50, a 5-speed. So a few riders rushed out and bought them, and they were actually exactly the same speed. You go from 4th to 5th and it goes slower, so you go back to 4th again, so you'll ever use 4 gears. But there was after the last video we did, I was thinking a few other bikes, and they were all at our chip shop, the Pines in Denny. There was Casals, and Casals were made in Portugal, blue bike from what I remember, quite a nice bike, obviously 2-stroke. Puch Grand Prix, which was quite fast, that was an Austrian 16er special, and French Gitane as well, and we didn't really know how to look after them. They ran for a while, and then we would seize them without putting 2-stroke oil in them and stuff. But we were actually learning how to be sort of basic engineers as well. My fizzy rounded the gearbox, the gear shift shaft, so I had mole grips on that. Sometimes I could click it with my foot, sometimes I had to pull it up and down with my hands, so I had that. But one thing I remember was my friend Billy Leckie, he had a Suzuki AP50, and he smashed the headlight. Well, in his mum's crockery cupboard, they had, in the 70s, we had these clear teacups. They were made of glass or ceramic, but they were see-through teacups and saucers. And Billy showed up one night without a smash headlight. He'd got one of his mum's saucers and put it in the headlight, rattled around a bit. The light didn't shine anywhere when it was dark, but it kind of looked all right. So that was, it was a perfect mod. Tea saucer headlight.
Saucer. Is that your stories?
Yeah, that's it. Let's get back to future.
No, that's what we're going to have a story section, I think, in every... Well, while we're on this Mac Chat is basically an open forum. It's whatever you guys that watch this want it to be. And we'll talk about whatever you want us to talk about. I think it'd be quite nice to have some old stories from the past, some modern racing stuff, and everything in between. If you've got any ideas, comment them below as to what you want us to do. So, modern day affairs. MotoGP started again, which is very exciting because that's all that's on the TV in our household. And there's a bit of tension in the paddock, which I think we can address.
Yeah.
Well, go on, you address it.
Yeah, well, it seemed like, so nice there's racing that's happening now. There's testing happening as we speak, and something to look forward to. So for me, that's just the turning point or the tipping point of getting back to motorbike racing. But yeah, Qatar, Doha, Lusail circuit there, that's where the first MotoGP tests are. Biggest story, I think, of the first test was not actually anything on the track. It was Jorge Lorenzo poking Hornet's nest. And he's getting so much stick because he basically he slagged off Cal Crutchlow. Cal's a good mate of ours, good friend. I don't think it'll even get on Cal's radar. He would just laugh, but he was poking some stuff at Cal Crutchlow, Alicia Espargaro, Jack Miller. It's just mad, and I just feel everyone's now trolling him, but I just think Lorenzo's bored, and he's got 1.5 million followers on Twitter or whatever. He's got millions in the bank. He's living the playboy lifestyle. Seemed to be in Dubai most of the winter, and then he went to the Maldives, and I don't think he's got too many cares in the world, but he does. I think he's just bored, and he's just saying things about people. He doesn't have to, but it is a bit weird. But I kind of give him the benefit of the doubt, and he doesn't upset me, but maybe he shouldn't do it. But it certainly seemed to be the biggest story of the first test. Second biggest story, and it kind of made me smile a little bit. I've got a WhatsApp group. I'm in a WhatsApp group, as many of us are, and one group I'm in is washed up Scottish racers. I'm the biggest washed up one, but people like Ian Simpson, Ian McPherson, Ian Duffus, Brian Morrison, Jim Moody's in there.
You have an honorary member.
Oh yeah, we have an honorary member, James Whittam. He's in there as well because we let him be one of us, and he is funny and he makes us laugh. But there's another guy in there called Howard Cross that did some racing in Scotland. That's a good mate as well. And what was quite funny was before the test, Aprilia launched pictures of their new MotoGP bike. Not the prettiest thing, but I think in MotoGP, bikes they're built not to be particularly pretty. If you wanted them to all be pretty, they'd all look like 350 LCs, and then everybody would be happy, of course. But the Aprilia doesn't look pretty. But I think, like the Ducati, it's built to be effective, whether that's aerodynamics, shape of bodywork, getting the rider in there, whatever it takes, whatever devices are on there. It's not there to look pretty. It's there to win races and be competitive. Anyway, the Aprilia appeared on our WhatsApp group, and some liked it, some didn't. I didn't really post an opinion, but Ian Simpson said he really liked it, which is fair enough, everyone to their own. That was quickly replied to by Howard Cross, who said, Ian, that bike, it's not good, and if it ever does anything, well, basically he promised them a sexual favour if it ever did anything, which we all kind of thought was quite amusing and thought, yeah, fair bet there. Anyway, first day of testing, the Aprilia's fastest. Well, the WhatsApp group went mad. Ian Simpson was straight on there claiming his prize. We were all asking if we could get pictures, and then Howard went a little bit quiet for a while, and then so we'll have to see how that pans out. But yeah, and it was good, and I it's good. Alicia Espargaro, we know he's got fast laps in there in him. The bike's obviously working well at Qatar. It must be fast because you need some high speed there. So it was good. Outside of that, the second day testing, Quartararo went quickest. We know the Yamaha works round there. And I think in my last video, I basically didn't write him off, but said Quartararo wasn't going to be a contender. So that always guarantees him to be really good. If I say something, it'll go the other way. Jack Miller was second. Espargaro was third on the second day on the Aprilia. And while pre-season testing doesn't really mean a lot, normally when the season gets going, I think that's a fair indication. Like I said, the Yamaha works well there. Quartararo, I'm sure, has removed a lot of the demons and problems he had last year. Jack Miller's ready to win races and fight for the championship. And the Ducati, as we know, with Dovizioso at Qatar is super strong. And you'd imagine if Quartararo came out the last corner leading, Jack Miller quite possibly could get over the line in front of him. So, and let's hope the Aprilia is in there. It'd be really good. They've had their troubles over the years. So certainly that first test was, I think, a fair indication of what might happen. There's more days coming, obviously, before the first race, but it was certainly interesting for me. But I will stick with my man, and I think Brad Binder will be in there this year. Didn't feature really in the opening days, but Brad Binder and the KTM, I think they'll definitely be in with the shout of at least winning some more races this year.
I think we've actually got an interesting Brad Binder story that people, well, sort of. Brad, if you don't know, I can't imagine that many people will know this because you'd have to be hot on your statistics to know this, but Brad actually came over to British Championship to race in 125s in 2009 when I first started racing. I don't even know. Oh, we were both in Red Bull Rookies together. That's how we knew him. And he came to do a British Championship round. So, have we still got the fuel jug? We basically brought like a Storage Wars container of Brad Binder's stuff.
A few years ago, Trevor Binder, who I'm really good friends with, said he basically stored all his junk and stuff and one bike from his BSB days, been sitting there for a while. Would you go and see if there's anything of any value? So
obviously, Dad was made a beeline for the garage. I'll assess this for you.
Taz and me hopped in the van. That's what it was. It was like South African pickers. So we went to this storage unit near Milton Keynes. I rang Trevor. I said, basically, I'll just fill my van, take it back and sort it out. And we did the deal. Trevor was amazing. But in there, and so there was tools and fuel jugs that we still use now. But in there was an RS125 Aprilia that he rode in Super Teens. So we fixed that up and eventually sold it. But
valued at about £200.
The South African mudguard on it had Brad's name on it. If ever I'd kept that thing. But anyway, it was quite funny. So yeah, still good friends with the Binders, and so happy to see both Trevor,
Brad and
Darren and Brad, and I see Trevor sometimes all doing well. But yeah, we're still got tools scattered around the garage belonging to the Binders.
Get them back on eBay. I think that'll do for today's Mac Chat. One other, just pass me that over there. One other regular feature, no, the jumper. One regular feature of Mac Chat is going to be, well, my channel now. I mentioned it in my last video. I'm just going to do a giveaway every single week because we've had a massive clear out at home over lockdown and there's just endless amounts of racing memorabilia and free stuff for my subscribers. So if you want to win anything, every week I'm going to give something away. This week it's my Cinetic jumper from last year. Don't have a lot of use for that now. So if you'd like to win that, all you have to do is subscribe to the channel and comment below. Each week I'll pick a winner in the comments. I can't actually pick them on the video because I film these 2 weeks in advance and everything becomes out of sync. So comment below. I'll pick a winner for last week's video this week and I'll carry on in that pattern for now. And yeah, that's it. I've enjoyed today and we'll all sign it. Thank you for watching if you've made it this far. Let me know what you thought below if you liked it. If you didn't like it, let me know and I think we'll do this once a month. It's basically easy for me to do these when racing starts going again because it's quite hard for me to keep churning videos out whilst I'm racing as well. Whereas this, we can do once a month quite easily and it's a quick video for me to do. So hope you enjoy it. We'll be back next week with another video. Bye for now.
See you soon. Oi! I nearly forgot. Nearly forgot.
Oh,
My wages.
yeah.
Next time you need your bike insurance, or your bike insurance is up, give us a try at Mackenzie Hodgson. Become part of the family, and you will be in the draw for a CCM Spitfire 6. We will hand that bike over at the NEC in December, and loads of more benefits.
Okay, that's your bit. That's what you get.